So I've been wanting to come outside for a few days now to make this video, and today I'm taking advantage of the fresh air. It's frosty today and it's clear skies and yeah, good views. So yeah, I've been thinking about the physical body. How can we encourage and cultivate a good habit and routine of self-care practice that actually is focused on giving ourselves nourishment and caring for our instrument? And that's on the premise that if our machine is well oiled and functioning in a way that is harmonious and balanced and healthy, then the impact that has on our emotional health, our mental health, and our spiritual well-being is, and our social well-being too, is immense. So I was thinking how easy it is to essentially negate looking after the body through not actually giving ourselves the nourishment we need, eating things that we know are not good for us, not taking heed of the body when it is asking us to rest, to slow down, and pushing ourselves to do things that we don't actually have the reserves for. And the list goes on. There are so many things that we do throughout the day, and habits that we form over years that become ingrained, and these are not always conducive to a real conscious dialogue with our physical self. And that's the train in the background. And then I was thinking about how easy it is for us just to push on through anyway, to keep going, or to put something off, or to say, okay, I'll do it next week, or I'll just eat this now and sort that out later. And we kind of lose that sense of perhaps ritual and ceremony, where we actually have many, many opportunities throughout the day to connect with ourselves in a very real, tangible way through checking in with the body. And whether that's just connecting with your breath, listening to your voice to gauge what your energy levels are like, checking your posture and alignment throughout the day as you progress through different activities, to make sure that you're not holding any extraneous tension, or at the end of the day drawing yourself a bath, or sitting in front of the fire, or doing some very, very practical self-care routine like massage, or just some postures that are going to help support you into a more physically relaxed space. So there's many, many opportunities for us to rebalance and reconnect throughout the day. And we're all guilty, regardless of how many tools we have up our sleeves, of putting things off and saying, okay, I'll do it later, or I'll get through this and I'll manage, and then we suffer for it. So I was thinking about this in relation to the physical landscape. So the trees, the mountains, there's this real sense of the landscape as a body, as a living space, as an environment that contains life within it and nourishes life, wildlife, plants, animals, the elements, the rivers. And sometimes when I'm feeling disconnected from my own personal physical needs, be that not really understanding how I'm feeling, or feeling perhaps some pain or discomfort, and not being really sure how to approach that, or even be able to identify what the issue might be. Or if I'm just feeling uneasy in myself, ungrounded, nervous or jittery, or maybe I've been doing too much mental processing and I feel off balance, and that my head is too dominant. I feel kind of scatterbrained and not at ease in myself. Then I look to the physical landscape as a space for reflection, a space for some healing and nourishment, and also a way to reconnect with my body. If I can't connect with myself, then I can come and I can connect with the land, and it offers me something it offers me space, and it offers me something tangible in that moment, something that I can connect with. I can pick up a rock, I can put my hands in the water, I can go and look at a tree, I can make contact with things, I can touch things, I can read and interpret information from the things that I am having a tactile experience with. They bring me back into a sensory space. You start thinking about things in relation to sound, in relation to temperature, in relation to texture. So it brings me into a deeper level of self-awareness, which at that point is a really good place to begin a dialogue with yourself about, oh, okay, I feel a bit more alive right now and a bit more connected. What is it that I actually need right now? What's not right? What's off balance? And just begin that dialogue. So it's a route way. Wild spaces or any space outside is a route way into making that connection. So I wanted to mention that specifically, thinking about how we can bring more ritual into wild spaces. So through connecting with our environment by creating a practice or creating a routine, a habit, something very, very personal, something creative that involves making something or doing something, involves you actually being in dialogue with the space that you're in or with the objects that are in your space. So if you have a garden, going out and creating a mandala or making a picture with different objects and items from the garden. They could be natural objects, they could be items that you have lying around. Going to a place that has lots of rocks, or at the beach where there are lots of shells. How can you begin a dialogue with these physical items by creating something or creating a space for you to be in that feels comfortable and safe and fun? And what will that space do for you? So the idea is that in the process of ritualizing how we talk with and respond to the wildness of outside and the beauty of nature, the wildness of nature, the temperamentalness of the elements, all of these factors that are about cycles and shifts, changes of energy and pace and perspective. Creating a mandala or building something or sitting by the river and communing with the river, or being out on the hill and shouting into the wind. These are all simple ways of engaging that will look very differently to everyone. They'll be completely personal to you. They are for you to create and play with. And if you're lucky enough to have access to an outdoor space where you're not going to be disturbed, or you don't feel self-conscious that you're going to interact with anyone or bump into anyone, if that's a concern for you, and I encourage you to go out and walk and find somewhere. And if you can't care for yourself on any given day for whatever reason, whatever's going on for you, go out and try and find something to care about outside, whether it's making something or doing something in a space that will give you that sense of, okay, this is really clear, the relationship that I have between myself and this tree, and I'm tending to this tree or pruning it or caring for it or doing something to interact with it. And there's a much clearer sense of your output of energy, how your energy responds to the space and how the space responds to you. Maybe you're interacting with animals or plants and there's a silent dialogue going on, which is a form of ritual, which is a form of ceremony. And it's those moments and those spaces that offer opportunities for reflection and give us tools and skills and nourishment so that we can actually come away from those spaces, come away from the ritual that we're creating outside through the activities we're doing. Maybe your ritual outside and your way of creating some ceremony and practice is by going for a bike ride and observing everything on your journey and getting some fresh air. And maybe that doesn't feel like a form of self-care, but it is. And I really believe that the more we find opportunity and circumstance to make a celebration of caring for wild spaces and engaging with them, the more riches we have to share with ourselves in our own internal space. So I hope this is making sense and that I've not overcomplicated it. But I just think about what children do when they come outside. Everything is a game to them. Everything is an opportunity for conversation or dialogue. Oh, look at that tree, or oh, did you see that bird, or oh, look, I found a rock. Or you stop for a few minutes and before you know it, they've made a smiley face in the ground or a picture, or you go to the beach and they want to build sandcastles or run around and leave their mark, leave their imprint on the sand. Or go to the park and then find a big tree to climb. They are all amazing, very active forms of ritual and of ceremony. It's like, okay, every time we go for a walk, always have to pick up a stick kind of thing. So it's perhaps more of a quality of remembrance. If all of this that I'm saying feels really odd to you, or it doesn't relate to anything that you're familiar with, try and think back to childhood, to that kind of innocence, that playfulness, that willingness and readiness and fearlessness to engage with the environment. And yeah, you might come back with a pocket full of stones and feathers and mud under your fingernails, but I hope that that experience nourishes you in ways that might not be clear to you in that moment, but then when it comes to points where you're struggling to care for the body and care for yourself, that you have this kind of quality of a reference point with your scale in relation to everything else, your relationship to everything else, your energy as being important and valid in relation to other things, and that it's so easy to care for ourselves when we take the time, we take the space, we treat it as an opportunity for enjoyment and for pleasure, and not to feel guilty about that, to really if we need to rest, rest and fully immerse yourself in the rest, fully enjoy it. If we need to see people in order to bolster our kind of emotional reserves, then go and do it and enjoy it and don't feel guilty about it. So that is my tuppence worth for today, and just give you a view of the blue. So yeah, I'm gonna continue on my way and keep wandering and getting some fresh air in my lungs, which is helping to clear the debris of bleh out of my mind. And yeah, if you find any of this useful, or if you have any questions, if it brings anything up for you, then please drop me a line and I'll be happy to have a chat. And yeah,